Okay, good morning, friends. Today we'll start with our essay lecture 10th, and today we'll do an essay based on geopolitics. Okay, so first of all, you must understand देखो दो टाइप के essay हैं. Firstly, today we'll do our essay topic will be geopolitics. In the last class, we had seen the essay on women empowerment. Short form women empowerment. Definitely women need to be empowered, and the meaning of empowerment are different in different societies, in different cultures. Some people see empowerment as aggressive attack on male ecosystem. Some people see as an egalitarian libertarian idea of having equality. So the ball is in your court. How do you see this? Okay, and you have to give all the perspectives here. Women empowerment, I have told you to analyze it from different perspectives: the socio-economic perspective, the cultural perspective, the psychological perspective. All have been dealt in your last class. Moreover, the history of women empowerment, how it has evolved throughout the history. What was there in the early Vedic era, later Vedic era, things changed, and after that, how it has evolved. That also has been dealt earlier. Moreover, the thing is that the themes of women empowerment have changed from your earlier there was matriarchy. A little bit brief about. From matriarchy it changed to patriarchy. What is the meaning of matriarchy? Where women primarily used to take all the decisions concerned with the society, socio-economic affairs, political affairs, and as the head of the family. Most of the decisions for women and men used to be taken by matriarchy system, that is, women used to take all the calls. Now, after the advent of later Vedic era, patriarchy dawned upon our system, our society. We are talking about Indian civilization primarily. Then later on, the wave of liberal wave, to make the society egalitarian, emerged. And we have seen so many stalwarts like Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, and many other reformers took the pledge to ensure that women get empowered as it was earlier. So that also happened. Later on, the wave of feminism emerged. But with the advent of feminism, another strong wave of radical feminism also emerged. I might not have dealt it in the last lecture, but this is an addition, as there is a cake and there is an icing. So radical feminism says that women are women being aggressive here, and breaking the psyche involved in the patriarchy. Now there is positive and negative, both are there. The positive aspect is that yes, women are being seen, heard, felt, their voice is being felt in a more pronounced way. That is fine. But what is happening? Negative is there. Through an example, I'll just give you an example of Indian society. You know this act, DV, Domestic Violence Act. When it was introduced in the Indian Penal Code, it was blatantly misused by many women from the upper strata of society. Likewise, the Dowry Prohibition Act. It was also blatantly misused. by many women who come from a privileged part of the society, privileged, who are not downtrodden, who are not non-privileged, who are not belonging to that have-nots part, who belong to the upper state of socio-economic structure of this country. Now what happened? Because of this blatant misuse, even Supreme Court had to say it, note it, that if these pro-women laws are misused, abused, then who will suffer? The women who actually need these laws, those women who are staying in the subjugated conditions. Subjugated conditions. They will suffer because the law will say no. Now, even if you have reported that something wrong has been done to you, the court, the law authorities, police will first and foremost verify it. Like I'll give you the example of, have you heard of this act, Harijan Act? People from lower caste, when being discriminated, could have approached police, and they used to do even now, that a bias is being shown, we are being discriminated, harassed, and police used to go and arrest the concerned person allegedly from the higher caste. But this act was being misused and abused so many times that people started fearing, people started being fearful that it will be abused, misused, and they will get arrested. And you know the kind of mental framework we work in, especially in our society, what happens there? Although you may not be a criminal, although you may not have done something wrong, but the perception is built against you. Now the problem with this is that, see, you have to be in touch with the society, you have to be in touch with the real life examples. Then only you will score marks in both these papers, as I've told you, for your essay paper and ethics paper. Both these papers require you to be a person of common sense. And especially if you look at the overall panorama of your civil services examination, you will realize that more or less an expertise is required for sure, yes. But largely the layer of common sense exists. If you are not following this layer of common sense, then it will delay your success, and probably it will take lots of effort to you to reach to even the lower ranks. Leave aside getting higher ranks, the lower ranks. Okay, so this you have to keep in mind, that largely it is an exam of common sense. As I told you in one of the interviews, the interview board itself asked, do you really think as an preparation of expert centric preparation or a coaching is required? Largely the answer is no, but you must be given a guidance, a direction, because of the lots of clutter, confusion and darkness created by many of the so-called coaching institutions and the coaches who themselves don't know the whole gamut of the examination. Okay, so we were discussing this perception. So perception, once you get arrested, people will say, okay, this person must be a criminal. Somebody has alleged against you that you are a person who is a fraudulent person. Now you, despite the fact that you don't have any facts to, any examples to back it up, you will go ahead with the perception. These are done by generally low IQ people. That is why, as a civil servant, as a public service aspirant, as a budding civil servant, I'll always suggest you to not to believe on any of the stories. I'm just giving you a suggestion. When you enter the public office, somebody will come up with a complaint late at night, 12 a.m. A girl dressed in a poor attire appears as if she has been violated, alleges that crime was committed by you are the SP of the district, the DC. The DC violated her. Now, if you are like common men, you jump to the conclusion, yes, it has been done, it must have been done, otherwise why would a woman at late night will come and complain, make a complaint? But if you are in a public office, you have to see the case objectively, in a unbiased manner. Okay, so because of these Domestic Violence Act, Dowry Prohibition Act, and acts like Harijan Act, they were being misused, abused. So what happened? Because of that, the sanctity of the act was questioned by the courts. Okay, so this radical feminism shaped a wave, and it happens especially in India. Let me tell you. Have you seen this Me Too wave? I'm giving you another perspective from what you know, other than that, because you can put it as a different perspective in your essay with examples. That also will fetch you mark, because you are balancing out different perceptions. So Me Too, what happened? World across, the allegations which were put up world across were generally backed by the facts. These were the allegations made by women who said that they were abused physically, psychologically, emotionally, harassed, sometimes going to the extent of being raped also. So they were alleging that these things happened with them in the past. Now, what happened in India, it is a very interesting case, and you must be aware about all these things. You cannot just talk about women empowerment without balancing the viewpoint of men. So that balanced objective approach has to be there. What happened in India is that there were so many false allegations. And because of these false allegations, as I told you that the perception is shaped by the allegations, not by the facts. So many men who were competent, authoritative in their approach, lost their job. Later on, when it came out, when it was revealed that these allegations were false, many of them returned to the job, but with a lowered morale and confidence. Now, let's see what happened after that, the aftermath. Other allegations which might have been correct, they were also looked at with suspicion. Lots of women lost their job. You know why? Because people become so fearful that such false allegations may come up, and then our image of the company, image of the person may get tarnished. Look at the situation. Who is suffering here? Women. And this is why I always suggest that the radical idea of feminism should not be continued. Radical feminism will destroy the real goal of feminism. The feminism says equality of men and women, and that's a very good goal. The women empowerment definitely we need to make our society egalitarian. Women have suffered through the ages, being discriminated, relatively deprived, absolutely deprived, prolonged deprivation, resulting into complete disruption of their psyche, resulting into glass ceiling effect. They are always working at the lower levels, not being promoted to the policy making levels, resulting into harassment everywhere, objectification. But the way out definitely is not that blatant aggression, and in some cases we can say blackmailing. This is what blackmail. This approach will actually harm the women who definitely need the women empowerment policies. Like as we say about the reservation. Reservation came for whom? Reservation came for those people who actually needed it. But what happened? The upper layer of the society, upper strata of the society, upper strata, many of the well-to-do sections, like if we call it Meena in Rajasthan are categorized under ST. But if you look at their socio-economic status, especially the economic status, and since they have got reservation, many of the houses have not one but many bureaucrats. Those have become IAS, IPS, and many other services. Now you look at this situation. Do they really need reservation now? Do the next generation of a person who has become IAS from a reserved category, what was the idea of reservation? To upgrade the socio-economic status of the person. Once it has been upgraded, do their children also need this reservation? The answer is no. But due to this usurping of reservation, what is usurpation? Misuse, abuse in one direction. It has harmed the real core issue of reservation. The real goal of reservation was to uplift the downtrodden, underprivileged, discriminated. But what happened? It has actually helped whom? Those who already were in a much better situation. Right? So, this you have to keep in mind that yes, a true wave of feminism is required, but not the radical feminism, not the arm twisting of men, not the arm twisting and false blackmailing of the society. This is one perspective which you can put up in your own words, having used your own tarka. As I say, the salt should be used according to your own taste, as much as it appeals you. Okay, so this was about the women empowerment. Now today we'll see the geopolitical essay. Now if it is about women empowerment, we have both facts and perspectives. The same is the case for geopolitical essays also. There are certain essays we are not having the facts. We don't even have the contextual idea. In which context it was said. We have to set the context. These essays are called your philosophical essays. And we have dealt with it. How to write an excellent philosophical essay we have already covered. Right or not? Yes. So that has been covered. Here in the geopolitical essay, women empowerment essay, or any essay related to your political system, that also we have dealt. Political system. An exact tone, the context, the content, large part of it is known to you. And what happens when we have all these things known to us? Largely what we do, we use the thesis based essay. In the introduction, you can use your anecdote also, because I find it really excellent to introduce with a anecdote. Or we can have a thesis for the geopolitical essay. What is geopolitical essay? Essay which is largely concerned with your international relation, largely, generally. And why are we calling it geopolitical? Because it is having a geostrategic importance. Apart from what your political, definitely political connotation. A geographical location has a strategic importance or not? Yes. Why West Asia is so important? Why Israel? Israel is so important for the West. Why? Because of its location. Look at the location of Israel, where it is somebody who has a dominance in this area, West Asia, strategic location of West Asia, somebody who dominates the Israel-Palestine geography, will dominate the whole world. How? The whole trade, the convergence of Europe and Asia is at this place. USA and the whole Western world tries to influence the geostrategic influence across the globe through Israel, and that is why Israel gets huge support from these countries. It is not a religious war as it is made out. See, the perception made out in the media, the perception made out by your reporters, the perception made out by your newspapers are not always correct, and largely they are wrong. This is the perception for the common masses who don't understand the history, who don't have that kind of knowledge, those who are not empowered. They are guided by the perception. Intellectual people don't get guided by the perception only. They focus on the facts. And what is the fact here? The influence. It's all the game of geostrategic influence. Having dominance. You know what a person vies for? Largely, since their childhood till the time they are growing, they get an idea that it's all about dominating. And dominance can be done in various ways. Through your power, authority. It can be done through your soft power. As we talk about the soft power, what is soft power? When you influence anybody through your cultural superiority, spiritual superiority, intellectual superiority. And what are these things? India's culture. Sarva Dharma Sambhav. We assimilate each and everyone's views. Still, we have our independent identity. We are non-aligned. Spiritual. Yoga. Meditation. A country of 1.5 billion is being visited by Europeans, is being visited by German, French, West Asian citizens, US citizens, Latin Americans, just to learn few things. The seat of meditation, the seat of spiritual awakening, India. So we influence the whole world through our spiritual power. Then intellectual. India was, India is, and India will always remain the seat of highest intellectual superiority. The unfortunate fact is that we don't have the universities of the level of Harvard, we don't have the universities of the level of Purdue, Kellogg's, Oxford, but we had at one point of time our Nalanda. Takshila. We were known to the world. Even well known philosophers traveled to India just to understand what is so great about this golden bird. So many spiritual leaders, so many intellectual leaders traveled to India just to understand its intellectual capacity. That is your soft power. We were influencing, we are influencing, and will keep on influencing the whole world through our soft power. Along with the fact that now we have done a geostrategic shift. And what is that geostrategic shift? Which was quite evident in the approach taken on Balakot, airstrike on Pakistan. Many of the movies also say ये नया इंडिया है, घर में घुसेगा भी और मारेगा भी. The thing is that approach is that we are now seen as strong country with strong opinions. We are not going to be just remaining non-aligned, but we'll take a call whenever required. You see the issue of Maldives, what has happened? Maldives. Some ill-informed, illiterate, ill-conceived notions of ministers from this a very tiny country which does not have any existence if we compare it with the great country of India, tried to damage, deprecate, dehumanize the image of our honorable Prime Minister. And along with that, it's not about the image of the Prime Minister, it's about the image of the Indians who are called filthy, dirty by these Maldivian ministers. India took a strong stand. The Ministry of External Affairs, headed by S. Jaishankar, who is a very thin man, but his voice, his tenor, his approach is robust. He is the Maldivian ambassador to India was called and given a dress down. This is not the way. You cannot take us for a ride. Just a few minutes after this dehumanizing act of Maldivian ministers, some ministers even sacked. They were removed from their post by the Maldives government. After that, what happened? Indians who visit, you see, India, the problem with India is that Indians, lot many of them visit abroad, and I can understand why they visit abroad. See, when you go to Chicago, when you go to Amsterdam, there is a huge difference between that place and Udaipur. You know what is the difference? The difference is in the cleanliness. Crowd. Our places are largely crowded. We have a jatha approach. Wherever we go, we carry a jatha with us. The people abroad, they visit either the two people, husband, wife, or the child along, or only a few people. They go and enjoy. And you actually understand that we Indians and largely all the developing countries, we are always in that surviving mode. savior mode and surviving mode. So we don't explore the world as happily, as enthusiastically as others do. So they are existing to explore the world, we are existing just to survive. So what is the approach whenever we visit England? Mandatory photos on social media circulating everywhere that we have gone to England, such a great achievement. But when foreigners visit any of the countries, they focus on enjoying the cuisine, local cuisine, explore the local culture. When Indians go to other places, they become vulture, stealing, stealing towel and many other accessories from the hotel where they stay. So that separates our holiday incursions from the foreigners trying to explore the world. That's the difference. Having said so, India gives the whole world lots of revenue. Because there are so many. See, India has lot many billionaires also. The unfortunate fact with India is that India has some people in the upper bracket and many others in the lowest bracket, poorest of the poor. This discrepancy is really high. Now, these people who have got the top notch people who have got access to all the resources in the country, they keep on traveling, give revenue to the world. Now, they cancelled their hotel bookings, flights, and see, Modi, the Honorable Prime Minister, is a Gujarati. Gujarati people so rich, many of them filthy rich. They keep on traveling, they also like traveling. Their life is very simple. खाखरा ढोकला थेपला खाने का और मौज में रहने का, मौजा में रहने का. They will be traveling the world. You go abroad, any of the universities, you will find many of the Gujaratis studying. Gujarati businessmen so prosperous. They even fund the Gujarati students to go and study abroad. Modi was demoralized, disrespected by Maldivian country. All Gujaratis cancelled their hotel booking, flight booking, all. Huge revenue loss for the tiny country, poor country actually. They should actually feel really ashamed on their deeds. Before calling out the Prime Minister of a country of 1.5 billion, the country who has helped Maldives like anything. Many of the Maldivians are from India, from Indian origin. They went to Maldives and staying in Maldives. You see, our image in the world now is that strong country. They will take the revenge. They will show you your place. That change has happened. You have to analyze all these when you are writing the essay. So essay is something where you absorb all the information from your general studies, as I keep on saying. You're optional and then you give the perspectives. Now, here in the geopolitical essay, the political system essay, the essay on women empowerment, the geopolitical essay, geopolitics, the political system. Here you have the context and content both available to you. Now the art of writing the beautiful, brilliant, organized, systematic essay which has got what? Structure. and flow both. The essay is very well organized into different points, and the flow of the essay is so smooth that the examiner goes gaga. After reading the whole essay, the examiner makes a mind how much marks to give it to you. They don't read each and every line like this. They will read the whole essay and then make the perception what to do. If your essay has been able to evoke positive emotions into the examiner, if your essay has given an idea, a perception that my essay is very organized, logical, I'm not biased, I show you the imprints of leadership, courage, wisdom. I show you that I am emotionally intelligent. I'm not a bookworm. I have got the diversity of knowledge, diverse knowledge. But yet, my knowledge does not say that I am just an intellectual bookworm person. My diverse knowledge is displayed through the common sense, through the real life examples. Plenty of examples actually. Then you get brilliant marks, and it's very easy to score 150, 160 in essay as compared to any of the papers. Where is it possible to score 250 out of 250? You're scoring 150, 160. Many of them get it very easily. Just you need to focus on the organization. You will never have dearth of knowledge. You will never have dearth of points. The only thing is that you are not practicing. You are not practicing the main important aspect which I have always told you. See, I keep on repeating this and I'll keep on repeating this again. There are 3 stages of examination. In this, focus is checked in the prelims level. Many people ask me that how to clear prelims, what to do, all this. See, prelims is first and foremost is the easiest of all the levels. There is no doubt about that. It has been made unnecessarily complex by, again, the market. The market forces. What are the market forces? Market forces are the people who are shaping the demand, who are shaping the perception of the client. Who is the client here? Student. So students are being shown, you must be fearful, uncertainty, fearful. This raga of fearful and uncertainty, they keep on approach, uncertain hai, fearful, fear is inside you. For this, you need to have a list of books, the best sources, which I will definitely give you. I will make a video on that. Then chart out a plan, a strategy, in how many days you are going to cover, how to use that hack, neuroscience of success. You need not study 12 or 18 or this that. You need to study only a few hours. And which are these hours? These are the hours of your highest productivity, where you will gain the highest output. What strategies to follow to ensure that you become your version of the childlike, curious like child. Childlike curiosity. And you perform with a efficient framework. What to do? The neuroscience of success. There is a strategy, which also I'll be dealing with. There is a strategy of success. You need to shift yourself from that inefficient level of operation to this efficient paradigm. That also will be dealt. And after that, your prelims becomes much easier. In the main level, what is checked? Generativity. You generate points, and that is why when I say in the essay, ethics paper, on all other general studies paper, what you need to do? You need to generate points. And how do you generate points? Say for GS paper 1, 2, 3, lots of knowledge is with you. So you have the content, you can generate points. But your paper 4, ethics paper and essay requires you to generate points from out of nowhere. And that is why examiner is now asking more of the philosophical essays. In that, you probably don't have that much of hold over the perspectives, over the content and the context. Since you don't have hold over the context and the content, what you do there? You are lost. You are not able to write a beautiful essay. You are not able to write your theory and case studies in ethics paper because most of the time you find it really difficult from where to generate points. This is again a technique and art. The art of brainstorming, through which with the content whatever we have, you can generate various perspectives and deal it with effectively along with the examples from real life and real life examples from your own life. You get the marks. Generativity, you have to work upon this generativity. In the interview, what is checked? One and only aspect, that is your self-confidence. How confident you are about your own being, about your own identity. Self-confidence, Atmavishwas as we say. This is the only element I checked there. DAF, current affairs, these are all just small aspects of this, but largely they are looking at your self-confidence. How confident you are when you are at a younger age, when you are writing it for the first attempt or for the second attempt. How confident you have remained throughout the process despite the fact that you did not clear the exam. That is at check in interview level, largely. Okay, so there is an art and science of it. There is nothing uncertain. It's about certainty. You definitely must have a benchmark level, and we are working on that. That your benchmark level will be evaluated, and then from there you will be transitioned into the topmost levels. All right. So this was just a summary kind of thing which we have already done. Your geopolitical essay. We'll just take a topic today. And the topic today is global order. Aftermath of Russia Ukraine war. Now, in this topic, see, it is relatively easier topic. This topic is relatively easier. And how to ensure that you get marks in this? To ensure that you get marks, you have to put your content into different perspectives, and the flow of the essay should be managed. This is your task. Much easier than the philosophical essays, where your context is not much known, because in which context that particular quote was spoken, that you don't know largely, generally, and that's all okay. There's nothing wrong in that. There's no harm in that. If you are having that perspective that yes, I know this particular quote, it's okay. Then you have more focus on that. But you should not be lost, and you should not narrow down your vision to that particular context only. because the code can be interpreted in various ways, infinite ways, and you have got that ability to do that. That is called your creative thinking, divergent thinking, which I always suggest you to generate. So, in this essay, what is known to you? You understand the meaning of global order. You understand the meaning of Russia-Ukraine war, definitely. That's in current affairs, various perspectives are there. So, how to deal with it? First way is that you can start with an anecdote. But remember that your anecdote should be hitting the bullseye, that is, your addressing the particular topic. Here, what is the topic? Global order. So, you can say, frame a story. The world saw emergence of unipolar dominance. Emergence of unipolar dominance of what? Unipolar dominance of USA. As Russia invaded the borders of Ukraine, the sanctified borders of Ukraine, all other international organizations like UNO, EU, NATO failed to take effective and timely step to control the aggressive behavior of Russia. But the only country which rose to the occasion was USA. Took the leadership into its jibe, became a leader again. Took all the measures to put up restrictions, supply food and other help needed, medical needs, ensured smooth trade even in the times of uncertainty. This was done by USA. So, this introduction is hitting the bullseye or not? This introduction is talking about the global order, yes. This introduction is talking about Russia-Ukraine war, yes. So, your anecdote should also be hitting the exact topic. Now, there is another way of dealing with the topic. We can have a thesis. And what is the thesis? The thesis is, we can say, RU war, Russia-Ukraine war has resulted into complete disregard for international institutions, destabilization of European countries, undermining of the sovereignty of nations, breakdown of the socio-economic threats of international trade, so on and so forth. This is our thesis. Now, under this thesis, what all perspectives which we have is sprinkled right now, all these perspectives. Now, after writing the thesis, you will say, you have written the thesis. This is your thesis, which I have spoken right now. Believe me, work on your vocabulary because it will help you a lot. You have seen there are certain candidates which I see in the last result. those who are not very knowledgeable as compared to many others who could not even clear prelims because of the lack of the focus and strategy, they entered the mains phase. They wrote answers because of their good command over vocabulary, because of their ability to organize answers. Despite the fact that they had lesser knowledge, they got around 200 rank, even 150 rank. These kind of ranks were achieved. You know what happened there? Because of their good command over the language. So you should not diminish, pay less attention to your linguistic abilities. It has become more important now, especially with the current paradigm where if you score well in ethics paper and essay paper, largely which is dependent upon your wordplay language, yes, it is dependent, there's no doubt about that, you will be among toppers. I have given you the secret sauce. So after developing your thesis, you will say, let us delve deep into various topics. Let us delve deep into various topics or various perspectives raised in our thesis. You will also say, we will, or rather I will, objectively analyze exemplify, ponder over the issues, and finally give a way out to ensure an egalitarian or a democratic world order. Democratic world order, right? This you will say. Now, after having said so, you will go to the next paragraph. In the next paragraph, what you will discuss? First, you will discuss the first perspective which we have sprinkled in the introduction. Just given a faint idea about the perspective, now we'll elaborate it. When you meet somebody, you don't give the complete introduction of yourself. You say that I belong to this place, this is my name, this is what I am doing. When they probe further, you give them all the ideas, examples and all. Now, the first perspective which we have talked about in the introduction was disregard for international institutions like UNO, EU, NATO. Okay. Now, how to elaborate this? You will say that after the advent of Russia-Ukraine war, which happened because of the aggressive behavior of Russia, misdeeds of Ukraine, the world, especially these institutions, EU, NATO, etc., kept watching when Ukraine was provoking Russia or not adhering to certain terms which it had promised earlier. Russia, without any regard or disregarding the global world order or democratic setup, attacked Ukraine. So it resulted in the failure of the system which emerged after World War II. After World War II, the world realized that there has to be an international democratic institution which captures the advent of aggressive, bullying, and authoritarian approach of some of the so-called dominant nations, rebellious nations. But you see what happened here? There is a disregard for it. So UNO. Then you can briefly sketch the failures of UNO. Failures of UNO in terms of what? In terms of various wars which have taken place. You can take the example of India also. Kashmir issue. UN was approached. Did UN take any decisive action? Was UN able to take any democratic approach? Any relevant, efficient approach to solve this issue? Till now, the answer is no. Failed. You can take global wars. Whether it is the issue of Iraq during the Gulf War or the situation of Afghanistan or even Pakistan, situation of Israel, Hamas. Has UN been able to take any control of it? Any decisive action taken? The answer is no. Even UNSC, because of the veto power of all its permanent members, that even if one member says suppose China says no, Russia is part of it, Russia itself had done the aggression, now Russia has the veto, so UNSC cannot take any action against Russia. China says no, no action against Russia or no action against Pakistan. So because of the UNSC, existence of an imbalanced UNSC, which has taken a strong stand against any democratic endeavor of the UNO. Even if the other members of UNO, there are around 190 plus countries overall, even if they take any democratic stand, the UNSC will veto. So UNSC is actually defeating the goals of UNO. The same is the case of NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It came as a military collaboration to ensure peace in Europe. Peace in Europe. But it failed to take any action in the Russia-Ukraine war. European Union, largely an economic organization which serves the economic purpose, could not do much here. This perspective you have to explore. Since all these failed, who took the leadership? Second perspective. From the first thread only, from the first paragraph, it is in a continuation. You will say, since the global bodies, international bodies, failed to take action, USA rose to the occasion. US rose to the occasion and provided global leadership by ensuring that there are military sanctions, there are trade sanctions, there is supply of essential food and medicine, humanitarian aid also given by whom? USA. So what it resulted into? A unipolar world again or not? Who is dominating here? USA. A dominant power which is actually solving the crisis. Despite the fact that there exists multipolar world, multipolarity is there. What is the meaning of multipolarity? There are so many nations which are taking the call. But USA took the leadership. USA took matter into its own hand. Who will be the leader there? USA. Whosoever solves the crisis, whosoever takes responsibility in his or her own hand becomes a leader naturally. You see, way back what happened in Uttarakhand, there was a flood. So many people were stuck there. As I told you, many of the Gujarat people love to travel. They were traveling Uttarakhand. The Uttarakhand government, being ruled by Congress probably at that point of time, failed to take any decisive action. At that point of time, the then Gujarat CM, Mr. Narendra Modi, he took action. He rescued people from Uttarakhand because they were the people who belonged to his state. This is called responsibility. This is called leadership. Why the whole country, large part of the country, I'm not any against or supporter of any particular political party, but the whole country supports Mr. Modi. What is the reason? Because he has taken decisive actions. You see this, Balakot. Strategic shift of the country to dominate against any aggressor must be given clear idea that you cannot violate our borders. If you do so, you will be given an equal or maybe more than what you have done. Even if it means waging a war, because this was kind of waging a war, done so deftly. We aggressed, violated the borders of Pakistan despite the fact that we had developed a democratic setup around us. Lots of support was there for this action. Two-pronged approach. Deftly handling the diplomacy and aggressively attacking the enemy. Master stroke. So these kind of approaches you have to display in your essay also, leadership qualities, or in your behavior, in your ethical competence when you are doing so. And as you move on in the ladders of bureaucracy, you'll have to display this. As you progress in life, you'll have to display these characteristics. Take responsibility of the situation when crisis emerge. It will boost the morale of your team. It will always sanctify you as a leader. and it will move the whole organization with lots of vigor and vitality. Okay, so now we have developed this perspective, USA taking the lead role. The defeat of the multipolarity. From there comes another perspective. As USA took the lead role, from there only, Russia took a back seat. Or rather, we'll say that Russia was propelled, pushed to the back seat. Owing to this fact, who emerged? China. China being an opportunist. See, the thing is that whether it is USA or China, both of them display the idea of opportunism. China displayed an opportunist approach by showing its dominance in the Indo-Pacific region, standing by whom? Russia. And when China comes, economy definitely comes. China took advantage of the situation, and as the global, you see the perspectives are emerging one by one smoothly from one to another, one to another. Smooth flow of the essay. China is coming, economy definitely comes. Whenever China is talked about, two things will be there: security and economy. Economy and security. China talks about security. China talks about economy. That is why China has an expansionist approach. If you have some time from your studies and if you like IR, international relation, I'll always suggest you to read these articles, IDSA. Indian Defense Strategic Affairs. IDS. Wonderful articles, beautifully written. If you have the passion to understand the global dynamics, the global geopolitics, which you should and must have actually, then go through these articles. You'll find them really, really wonderful. One or two you can just pick up as a matter of hobby. You see the dynamics, the perspectives of international relations, where it is moving towards. Written by some stalwarts of international foreign arena, not biased, unbiased approach. Very well written articles. I was seeing some of the journals published by few students whom I had interacted with. I just realized that the problem with Indian education is that it's copy paste. Most of these articles are copied from one place or the other. That is why we are so behind. If you talk about the global education arena, our index of universities also, because we never talk about the critical thinking, critical approach, creativity. Even for competitive examination, people say they ratify their notes from 25-30 years, same notes are being ratified. That's the problem. The problem lies there. Students are not told to be creative. Just believe in your mind, in your own ideas. Okay, so China comes into picture. What China did, China seized the moment of international economic trade debacle. What happened because of the attack of Russia on Ukraine? Inflation increased because the supply of global crude oil suffered, because of the sanctions from Russia also. Russia is a major supplier of global crude oil and many other incidental goods. If the petrol supply, see, petrol is something, or the global crude oil is something which is the most essential. It's called the modern gold. And if there is a war, again, it will be a war for petrol. There used to be a war during 90s, Gulf War, for petrol. Again, there can be a war for this crude oil. Okay, so inflation increased because of the sanctions, the route, the global trade route suffered. European trade, it got stuck. China said, now this is our time. अपना टाइम आएगा. चाइना का टाइम आ गया. China started moving its own goods across the world. Dominated economically. See, whosoever dominates economically will dominate the world. China's dominance, prominence. China saw that USA is there now. Russia has taken the back seat. Who else can oppose USA? China. None other than China. China took this, seized this approach. We have talked about few perspectives. These, if we are talking about, it will definitely go to your 600, 700 words. Now, you have talked about the scenario, global world order, the problems which arose. Now we'll talk about the solution. In what? 150, 200 words, we'll talk about the solution. That what should have been done. In the solution, two parts are there. What should have been done? What should have been the approach of the globe, approach of the world, and what to do now so that these things don't emerge. What should have been done, what to do now. Who will do these two things? Not me, you will do. That is the problem with the education system also. You don't like homeworks, you don't do homeworks. I told you to do the case studies, send me the answer of the case studies. What are you searching for? What are you waiting for? Will I write exams on your behalf? Will I go and write main examination? If I give you, see, it's very easy for me to give the points and suggestions, but will it solve the purpose? The idea is that it should generate the ideas, the topics, it should be generated in your mind through your own pen, on your own copy. I am here to evaluate, give you the suggestions. Definitely, I have given you the techniques, I have given you the fodder. And these case studies are not something which is to be done by the experts of the policy and psychology. This is to be done by common men. The duty of a bureaucrat is that of a common man. You will be dealing largely with the common men. And that is why most people who remain grounded and who see the commonsensical approach simplify the process, click the exam easily, as compared to many of the people who are waylaid, distraught, confused. So please do that case study and think about these two things also, because your technique should come, it should come from within you. Then I'll give you two topics at women empowerment and geopolitics topics. Write them also. Whatever you write, don't worry about the marks you get. This is your learning phase. In case you are not able to do justice to the essay, I am here to suggest you. The points will be given. So some time is left as far as preparation, primarily focus for prelims is concerned. Some time is left. That is, for prelims 2024, how many days you should give? See, ideally 100 days. 100 days are enough. 100 days focus study. How many hours? They say 8 hours, 10 hours. Slogging. This is a donkey work. Prelims is donkey work. And whosoever, whatsoever people suggest, prelims is largely, mostly about one thing, that is called your knowledge. If you have the knowledge, if you know things, and then I have also suggested this to many of you who had called me and talked to me. 100 papers, 100 new papers, that is 10,000 questions you must do. Practice on these 10,000 questions apart from PYQs. Donkey work hai ye. Lots of hard work will be required because this is the bottleneck. Here you clear, mains is easy. Mains में 1000 में से 600 तो मैं दिलवा रहा हूँ आपको. Your work will be so easy. Prelims is a donkey work. Just clear it. Through the 100 days approach, we'll be able to do it. We are bringing the test series also. 20 tests of GS and 8 tests of CSAT. You do that religiously, obediently, honestly, you'll definitely crack it. It's not that tough as it is made out by the people who have made it tough by design at great disservice, actually. So, we'll be focusing on this. With this, we'll end the essay class. Meet you in the psychology class. The two classes are there. One is for your regular psychology classes for those who are in the psychology batch. Another one is for your mentorship and strategy batch, where we are covering the whole psychology syllabus in 45 days. There are foundation batches which are being launched right now for 2025-26 also. If you have to enroll on any of these, you can go to your website mjis.in, or you can just contact me on this. As far as my number is concerned, many of you definitely know it through the Telegram only. Okay, this is the WhatsApp number or my own number which is there with you. You can WhatsApp me, then we can talk about the courses also. Thank you very much for joining. Enjoy the day.